to this week, Friday, 11 a.m. UK time, and midday for Emma, who's going to be joining us to demo some calendar stuff. Now, we asked our existing clients what questions they would have, because this week we don't have any updates. This is a really strange week because we've been using HighLevel now for I don't know, 4 months, 5 months, and every week there's been a whole host of updates. Siri, what are you doing, mate?
Sorry, I couldn't hear what you said.
That's good. I mean, why does Siri want to come on the moment I go live? Does anybody else get this when they're doing something important? Siri says, oh, yeah, I'll just come along and speak to you. So I'm just going to put it on Do Not Disturb and we'll move swiftly on. So in all of this time, we've never had a week where there's not been a whole bunch of updates, and we'll be able to share these updates with everybody. But of course, this week, our second week of office hours, there isn't anything. We went back and I checked, and we usually see all the updates, but we can't see anything of great importance, really. So what we did is we went to our existing customer base and said, hey, give us your questions. Let us know what you'd like us to talk about. We'll sort of demo them. This is not replacing training, right? This is not replacing our weekly training. It's really just we're going to run through some of this stuff really quick, answer some of the questions, and then that way, when we send a newsletter out, which we're going to start very soon, Emma, looking at Emma, she's in the green room and she's just smiling at me. So the newsletter will be coming out soon, and we'll link to the answers to the questions in the newsletter, and that way you can jump to the video and watch straight away. We are live on our YouTube channel, our Facebook page, and of course in our private community just for you guys as well. So it is the 14th of July, and we've got a bunch of questions. I'm just going to go through these questions so you know what's coming in this office hours, and then you can decide whether you want to stick around and listen to the answers to these questions or not. So we've got Taruna, who's asked us to do a run through of the calendar. Now, this is why Emma is here. She's definitely been using the calendar more than I have. So I wanted her to just jump in and show you that. We've got communities. Can we use communities for a membership whereby members can post? So instead of needing a Facebook group, yes, we are so excited with this. We've not used it a lot, but I will show you sort of at the extent of our testing so far. We're going to be testing this a lot more as well, because of course we have our own communities. So we will show you that. We've got Josie then, I had a call with Josie this week and we went through a number of questions. I thought these would be great to demo to you. So how to create a Linktree page, a little bit on the mini offer challenge. So we did a mini offer challenge recently. We will be doing that again, and we'll just talk about some of the stuff in there. Maybe, actually, Emma, maybe I said jump off and monitor the Facebook feed, but maybe you could hang about for a bit in the green room. And then when we talk about the mini offer challenge, you can just talk about the snapshot that we've created, talked about for Paul. So maybe just a quick minute or so talking about that. Do I have to buy a subdomain? We'll talk about that. I'm going to demo domain setup as well, because it's something that Maddie asked for as well. How do I set up a phone number and messaging? What about a QR code for events and getting leads into Last CRM? We're absolutely so excited about this particular feature. I want anybody that runs events or exhibits at events or goes and does a lot of networking to pay attention to this. We have done a YouTube video on our channel already about this, but I do want to show you that very quickly again. And do I still need a Vimeo to store my courses? Do I still need Vimeo to store my courses? Now I'll dig deep into that, bringing the king of video knowledge into Last CRM as well. And then finally, Maddie has, how do I add a domain and create a simple website? And we'll go through that process. We'll probably cover that actually when we talk about the Linktree page, but still want to show you the templates for websites and stuff as well. All right, so that's everything. With that all being said, please do let me know if you're where you're watching this from. Don't forget to put #replay in the comments and just say hello and let us know where you're watching from, and hopefully we will get back to you once we see those comments. All right, so first things first then. Emma, I don't see your screen being shared on my list of sources, so make sure you do that. And we'll start with the first question. So this was Taruna asking, I could do with help on calendars. Getting it started. I've started it, but I need to finish up the setup. A quick tour would be great. So Emma's going to actually demo our live calendar for Last CRM. I'll show you. We have a page. Show you what ours looks like, and then when we come over to Emma, she can run you through the sort of back end of it. But if you go to here, here's our page. So we've got a page. It's just a really simple page. Actually, some would say not amazingly well designed, but it's a function over form kind of page. Book a call. This is the page that all our clients get access to. You can book in a discovery call, a demo. This is for potential clients. We've got our onboarding, one-to-one onboarding call that we do for every client, and then you can book with Matt or Emma. And when you click on these, it takes you to our existing calendars. So if you've got a team or anything like that, this is the exact kind of page that we could help you get set up when you get started with us. All right, so let's say hello to the wonderful Emma. Welcome, Emma. First time on Office Hours. Emma is co-founder of Last CRM, my business partner, so I'm excited to have her here. She is in France, and she's got a pants internet connection, so it's a little bit pixelated here and there, but don't worry about it too much. Hopefully we'll get through this demo perfectly well. I will ditch myself off this unless I need to come back in, Emma, but otherwise I will share your screen.
Okay.
Here, and then I'll leave it over to.
Cool. Hello, everybody. I'm going to give you an overview of calendars. So Matt showed you the booking pages that we've got for our calendars. So I'll quickly slip over to here. So this is the all the booking calendars that we have. So you can see for each calendar we have, for each call that we want to have, like for example a discovery call, we have a calendar. And the way you start is when you first get into your sub account in Last CRM, if you go into settings and calendars and click on connections, this is where Last CRM talks to your outside calendars, for example, your Google Calendar or your Outlook calendar. And one of the great things is you can check for conflicts here. So the first thing you need to do is actually connect your outside calendars. And then if you go into the calendar tab here, this is where you create your individual calendars for each meeting that you want to do. On the right-hand side here, if you click create, we use round robin. You can do this if it's just you. Essentially what a round robin call or calendar is that if Matt and I are on the calendar, I put Matt as priority and then me as second priority. But in general, we use round robin for all our calendars, even if it's just me. So you give your calendar a name, you select the team member, so you should ensure. And of course, it is school holidays. So I have children at home. Can you give me 5 minutes, please? Matt, you're going to have to jump on the call again.
I'll come back to let Emma have a moment there. So what you got to do is you got to fill in this calendar information. So we've got calendar name, we've got team members there, and with team members, you're going to select which team members you want as part of this calendar. Now, Emma mentioned about the round robin functionality. So the thing I really like about that is if you've got a small team, you can prioritize the different people. So this means that if you are doing discovery calls or if you're doing training or anything like that, you can say Matt is the main priority. So I do the discovery calls and a lot of the sales calls, that kind of stuff. So we say if someone wants to book in this calendar, they choose and it will choose me first, then Emma second priority, then Chris third priority. So if I'm not available, it will move over to Emma. Emma's not available, it will move over to Chris. So it's a really great way of having one calendar, but allowing that to happen. You can also make it so that you can make it available for them to pick one of those staff members, you know. So again, if you wanted to have one link like we have, so ours is book.lastcrm.net, they can head over there, click on the calendar and then choose whichever team member they've got. So, you know, imagine you're on a support call or something like that, and they've been speaking to a particular person. I see some people doing this on the socials, so they'll reply to somebody and it will say like dash Matt or dash Emma or whatever. They could say, well, go to the link there and book a call with me, and they could go book that person as well. You can also see a meeting duration. So we do 15 minutes. Anyone can book a 15-minute call with us. There's also dates and times. So this is kind of the standard stuff you'd see in Calendly, for example. So your start time and finish time of availability. And so you don't want people booking at like 8:30 at night, that kind of thing. So 8 till 5 we've got there. And then you can also accept payments as well. So one of the discovery calls I did, somebody said, how do we do power hours where people actually pay us for the time? So you could set your meeting duration to 60 minutes. And then you can say accept payments, and as long as you've connected Stripe or some payment method inside Last CRM, then you can then take payments for those calls. So really flexible system. Emma's going to click on advanced settings, and now it looks like she's back now. So I'll jump out of the way.
I'm on mute. Perfect. Sorry. School holidays and everything. When you can see the booking availability. Just want to highlight this. So booking availability is for this specific calendar. So you can see Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, 8 to 5. So for example, if you have a 15-minute discovery call and all you want to do is you want to do discovery calls on Monday mornings, you can set your availability on Monday from 8 until 10. For your overall availability, you need to go into your profile. And here you can set your overall availability. And this will be assigned to all the calendars unless you actually update the specific calendar. So going back into calendars again, onto the next step. I'm just going back in. So when you've added all of this in, so for example, I'm going to do Matt. He's going to do a 30-minute call. We're going to call it a test power hour. I'm just filling this in because I think the system won't let me do it if I don't. 60 minutes. And we confirm. And now it's asking me, so test power hour. Have a play with this slug here because sometimes it won't let you do a specific name or URL. So if you put in little tip here is put in the initials of your company name at the beginning, and then the system will let you do it.
Hey, the other part of that as well is, so Emma's showing you that specific name. That's for the widgets, the URL for the widget, but don't think that that's the URL that the user will see. Like when we've created a web page and then embedded the calendar into that web page, that's the URL they will see. But what happens in Last CRM across the board is we create URLs, and there's like preview URLs and all that kind of stuff. It doesn't mean necessarily that that's the domain name that we're going to associate it with. It's just good for testing. It's good for you can create like the preview URLs and send them to clients if you want like a quick setup of something, or maybe you've not got a domain name ready for that kind of thing, or a subdomain ready. We'll show you this later on in this office hour. So yeah, you need to point that out.
And you can see this is the test power hour. This is the calendar that I've actually created. And here are the links that you can grab. So if you have a WordPress site, you can embed this calendar into your WordPress site just by copying the embed code. So what we'll do is we'll now go into the calendar and edit. And now there's more details. So you can add a logo. This is an expansion of what we've just done here. We can optimize for availability. The system will do that for you. You can assign event calendar. Now you can see here, so I've selected Matt as the person who's going to be, this is his calendar. So he's the one who's going to be assigned to the appointments. And what we've done is because he's connected his Zoom account already in connections, we can then select Zoom here and the system will automatically then send out a Zoom link when somebody books a power hour with him. So next thing, if you press save, it will move you on to the next spot. And this will, next step, and this is the availability I was talking about for the calendar itself. This is, you can do your meeting intervals, how long the meeting's going to be lasting, the minimum scheduling. So you can say, right, I want to have at least 2 days notice before somebody books a call with me. And also how far out. So do you want to have people be able to book 6 months in advance or 3 months in advance?
So this is great for us. We're doing a podcast soon, so we can say, actually, I want this calendar only to be available during August, and then after that, nobody can book it. So you know that it's a fixed amount of time. One thing I wanted to point out, I know you probably come into it, Emma, but is just the buffer time. I was speaking to a potential client on a discovery call the other day, and buffer times are great because if you're doing some kind of sensitive work, you might find that you need like 15 minutes or half an hour just to reset, to clear yourself. Maybe you don't want to be jumping on one call to another call. So buffer time just allows you to put in a break so that when somebody books, there's a guaranteed like 15 minutes between, and you'll see that in the availability as well. So people so you're just not on back-to-back meetings all the time.
Yeah, and you can go and bribe your children with sweets so they don't interrupt lives on Facebook. And then maximum bookings per day and maximum bookings per slot. So for example, like I said, if it was a 15-minute discovery call and you only want to do 3 a day, you can then set that and how many bookings per slot, so how many users in that actual booking. And we're moving on to the next one, forms and payment. So here the system actually creates a thank you message for you with a custom field. You can update this yourself. You also add a pixel ID if you want. You can create a form. So for example, if you're doing an onboarding call, you can attach a form here, which they need to fill out. We can pre-populate the field. So if somebody's an existing contact on the system in Last CRM, it will automatically add their details, like their first name and their last name and their email.
Hey, Emma, I don't want to go through all the settings here. I think we'll probably Tarina, let us know if there's anything else we've missed on this point, because I know we've only got an hour and we're 15 minutes in. But oh my God, select form! I did not know you could do that. So now I'm thinking about my podcast. I'm thinking we need to get like a bunch of information from the people in the podcast ahead of time. This is going to allow us to do that, right, as part of the booking, which is amazing. So. Forms is one of those things. It's kind of a subtle thing that we have in the system, and we don't talk about it a massive amount. But actually, it's so important to get the data into your contacts using that. So really good.
And also the next step is the notifications. So the system will automatically send out an acknowledge email with the link to the Zoom or the Google Meet, whichever one you've decided. And then we've got the customizations, which is my system. You can just set up the style of the calendar that you've got and allow additional notes as you can add extra things into the email, that the notification email or the confirmation email that they've got. So there you go.
All right. As we said, Tarina, any further questions on that, let us know and we'll show whatever we need to there. But outside of that, great job, Emma. Thanks so much for coming and doing that. And we will jump on to the other questions. If you can stick around, Emma, if we get to the snapshot bit, and we'll come back to them. Okie doke. Amazing. Wicked. So next question then from Tarina. Can you use communities for memberships? I had all that time off screen and I didn't clear my throat. Can you use communities for a membership whereby members can post instead of needing a Facebook group? Now, I just wanted to show you this because some of you may not have seen it if you didn't catch last week's office hours. And that is this very thing here. So what we have now, and it's been live for a couple of weeks, maybe even a month, is the client portal. So we've set it up as portal.lastcrm. Oh, and it defaults here. Well, what actually happens if I jump out of this and just log out for a second, you'll see the client portal looks like this. You can customize this like you can customize everything else. They can log in with a secure code, or they've got a username and password. You know, the kind of standard stuff you would expect for the training site. So if anyone's created courses or anything like that right now, it's pretty much the same kind of area. Once they're in a portal, they get a profile. So you can see profile picture, cover, full name, account email, and social media accounts as well. And I just can't imagine that this will not grow and grow and grow. So they can add more information here. We also have the fact that they can go to their affiliate portal here. So if they click on client affiliates, there's a way they can check if they've affiliated people to the system. This is going to be massively useful for us. We've got courses. So if they go to courses, they will see the courses that have been assigned to them. So I just assigned these two recently just to make sure we've got something in here. And they can see all courses and my courses. And then lastly is the communities, which is in beta at the moment. I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure you have to add it in labs. So if you want this in your account, if you go to, bear with me 1 second. I just don't want to cause a GDPR nightmare here. I want to make sure I'm in the right place. Settings, labs. Oh, I'm in the demo account anyway. So if you go to settings and then labs, so settings at the bottom is always at the bottom, just here. And then you go to labs, which is also at the bottom here. And then you'll see all these things that you can turn on. So there's a bunch of things you can turn on. One of them is communities. And this then gives you the option to see that in that portal area. I'm just wondering if there was anything else. No, it's all wrapped up in that communities feature. So when you've got that there, so you've got, as I mentioned, the affiliates, you've got the courses, and now you've got this communities bit. We just created a random community and added a thread here so you could see what was going on. But yes, it's available. Yes, there's loads of updates to come with this. Like, this just seems like version 1 or version 0.1. And we're going to see lots more improvements on this. But I'm so excited to see where this goes, because this communities feature is really going to accelerate a lot of people's use of Last CRM and their business as a whole, because it's just another one of the pieces of software that you would need to go and get. Like I do, we have Circle at the moment, and hopefully long term we'll be able to replace that with this. Okay, so that's that question. Let's go to Josie's then. So Josie had a number of questions. And the one I wanted to focus on was just Linktree, right? How do we do Linktree? And actually, Maddie, this answers your question about setting up a website as well. So we'll do the two things at once. Now, what I wanted to do is just show you how to add a custom domain to your site. So if you think about the scenario is that I want to create a website on a domain that I've purchased. And this can be on a subdomain as well. So if you're not sure about the difference, when you buy a domain, so in my case, I've got a domain called businessfestival.uk. That's the one we're going to use in this demo. You can add unlimited subdomains to that using your registrar. So I use 123reg as my registrar. That's a registrar is a place where you go and register the domain. So you might use GoDaddy, Namecheap, 123reg, anything like that. So you can add as many subdomains to that as you want, or you can use the main full domain as well. So if I was using a website, I'd use a full domain. If I'm using a links subdomain, so links.businessfestival.uk for my Linktree page, then I'll have to add that subdomain. I'm going to show you those two things now. Hope I explained that well. Emma, just nod, because I know you're a non-techie. Did that sound okay? She's nodding, so she says that sounds good. All right, so let's just take a look at domains then. So the way you add domains is if you go to sites, you can click on the cog. And then when you go to the cog, you will see that right now it says there's no domains currently set up. And all we're going to do is press add domain and then put in the domain that we want to add. So mine was businessfestival.uk. And what happens here is it tells you can add an A record, which is this one here, or you can add a C name, which is this one here. Now, if I jump over to 123reg and just show you what that looks like, I know this can look confusing. If you're a non-techie, this can be quite confusing, and you can break stuff here, right? That's a word of warning. You can break stuff here. But if it's a domain you're not using, technically speaking, you shouldn't be able to break anything because you're not using it, right? But just follow the instructions. There is a little video. I'm losing track of tabs here. There is a video here. So watch this how-to video, and there's some instructions there that HighLevel give you. But right now, I'm just going to show you the process. So I've already changed these A records. So these are the two A records here. So I press edit. I'd pop in the numbers. Make sure there's no additional space in. Sometimes when I'm copying stuff, there's like an extra space. So just make sure there's no space in there. And then I press the the tick icon to make sure that's right. If you add in the CNAME, so when we do, in fact, I'll add the CNAME now as well. You'll see it's slightly different. So let's just do this first and say add. Now I know it's there. It's going to just add it straight away. And I'll show you how to check whether this is working. So if you get an error message, and I'll show you what that looks like. So if we go and add links.businessfestival.uk, this is the one I'm going to use for my link tree. And what I want to do is add a CNAME this time. So I'm going to copy this text and I'm going to press add. And the error message you will get, it's just, how has it added it when I've not added the thing? Normally it gives you an error message. Of course, when I'm demoing it, it's not going to do that. In my old life, we used to say we had to sacrifice something to the demo gods for it to work. But clearly something's gone wrong. But here you can see I'm adding the CNAME here. This is the long bit that I needed to add in. And then because I'm using links, that's the one I would add at this point here. So I'd say hostname links, and then destination is the one that it tells you to add. And I'd press add there. I don't know how that has worked without that. Perhaps it would just not work when I actually visited the page. That's the main thing. And what would happen and how you check this is there's this wonderful website called whatsmydns.net. This is just a little hack for you. If you wanted to check that the changes that you've added have worked, go to whatsmydns.net, put in the URL and put in whatever you've added. So in this case, I've got the A record that I did before, and I press search and you can see all these lovely green ticks. So that means it's worked mostly around the world. And then the other thing I can do is CNAME. And remember, I added that links one and it's saying the links one is not worked yet. Eventually that should work. But this is what a lot of the time people say this takes like 48 to 72 hours. And with new domains, it does take a lot of time sometimes. But in my experience these days, because tech has moved on and these things tend to be a bit quicker, generally a couple of hours and you're fine. So if you find that you're adding these domains and it's not working as well as you expected, or it's coming up with some red text and an error message, just make sure you have done these things in 123 reg. You have to press the tick, and that means it's committed. On some of the domain registrars, you have to say save, and then it will save it, and that's committing the change to the actual domain settings. So if I've said that really quickly, you can just watch this back and go through it again. Like, I know sometimes with tech, I tend to go quite quickly, but hopefully you can just watch that back and it should be fine. Okay, so I've got my two domains to use now, and I'm going to do two things. We're going to create a website on one, and we're going to create the Linktree website on the other. So let's just visit the page first. And what should happen is if I visit the page and it's got no website associated with it, it should give me a nice 404 message, which of course, there you go. So this 404 message here with this nice gradient background means that it's working, because actually in Last CRM, if you visited it without doing those domain settings that we did, we wouldn't see this 404 message. All this is telling us is there's not a website here yet, right? And if we try links, we'll probably find that links doesn't work at all, but we might get the same 404 if it is working. Yeah, there you go. So on this one, because the previous one I prepped it a little bit ahead of time, this is what you get. It's not working at all. So we're going to focus on the website one, and we'll see if the links one works by the end of the office hours. Okay, so we now need to create a website. So let's go back into WDemo and then go to sites, and then we can go websites. I don't use funnels for sites. A website is a funnel, really. There's slight differences between them, but for the most part, I use website. And for this test, I'm definitely going to use new website. So I'm going to say new website. And what I'm going to do is just show you the templates, because not many people know these templates exist. And actually, it's a great starting point. Once you create a template, it doesn't mean you have to stick with it forever, but it's a great starting point. So I'm just going to look at what templates are available to me. So this is for my website. I might search something like agency. And I've got a digital agency. Let's say I wanted this digital agency. I'm going to select that one. It shows me it's got a few web pages and stuff inside of it. And I'm just going to say, yeah, that's fine. So by getting this template, I agree to all the terms. And it's going to go and load that template. Now it'll take a minute or so just to load that template into my account. And then what we have to do is associate the domain name to that template. So we'll give it another refresh. There you go. So there it is, digital agency, 6 pages in there. Oh my God, I've got a website. I didn't need to do anything for it, right? I just need to change the contents of this stuff. So now I need to add the domain name to it. So if I wanted to preview any of these web pages, I can click on this little preview icon and see it. There it is in real life. Remember I talked about those long URLs when Emma was talking about the calendars, and I said we had these preview URLs. This is an example of that. But now I want to add my domain to it. So I'm going to go to, there's 2 ways to do this. I'm going to go to settings, and I could select the domain name this way. And the other way to do it is go to the cog in the top right, and then I can edit the domain name, and I can select the page this way. And you can see it offers me all of the different websites and pages that are available. So I'm just going to say digital agency home. I'm not changing the error page yet, and I'll hit save. Okay, now when I go back to site, so go back to digital agency, if I give that a refresh, it should hopefully show. It should show it there. I don't know why sometimes it takes longer, but hey ho, you can see it. You can see it's there now. That's the main thing. Okay. Cool. So now if I go to businessfestival.uk, there's my website. It's ready. It's there waiting for us. So now I just need to go and change all the text and that kind of thing for this. So in reality, what I would do is I would probably go and modify all of the pages first, add all my own text, add my own images, my logos, all that kind of stuff. I wouldn't make it live on the URL necessarily straight away. I would do all of that work ahead of time. And then once I'm ready, I then go and change that URL. So now what I think when I preview these, if I'm right about it all, I should be able to click the preview, and you remember that long preview URL is no longer here. It's now the actual proper domain name that I set up before. So businessfestival.uk/about. Wicked. Super simple, right? Super simple. Again, you can watch this back if you want to watch this, if you want to do this yourself later on. So now what I'm going to do is just create that Linktree page. So this is something that I demoed to, I think I demoed it to Taruna, I've demoed it to Josie now. I'm just going to call this, we'll do it from templates as well. So I'm going to press continue here, and then I'm going to search for Linktree. I mean, there's no shame in HighLevel about using Linktree as the title. It is someone's brand name, so it's crazy that they've done it like this. But here it is, makes it super easy for us to find. And there's loads of examples here for Linktree. So you can just pick your own. I really like that there's a branded one for Christmas. The one I tend to use is the one right at the bottom here, this business one. And I'm going to select that in our case. So I'm going to press continue. I'm going to say yes again. And that will load to my site. Now, there's a little gradient. I don't know if you saw it with the sort of circle around the profile. I do get rid of that because I really don't like that. It doesn't seem to work on all devices. But for the most part, everything else works perfectly well and is very, very straightforward. So I'm going to do the same thing. First thing I'm going to do is connect the domain name. I'm going to say links.businessfestival.uk. That's the one that I want. Some paths duplicated. Let me just go to the other one as well and make sure that I'm on the right page. There it is, my Linktree page. Don't know what it was complaining about at that point. It looks like it saved it, so that's good. There's loads of other stuff I do in here, right? Like this in the settings, I change the paths, add in the fav icon to make sure that they've got the little nice icon in your pages, and there's a whole bunch of other stuff as well. I might have other pages added to this, but right now I just wanted to show you how this works. Let's try links then and see if it's actually a live website already. Oh, there you go. So my links.businessfestival.uk is now working, and I am now Jake Scott. And this is a thing that I mentioned. You can see that little gradient with the background. I removed that because it doesn't seem to work. It's a nice idea, but it doesn't seem to work. So I would get rid of it. And there's loads of other stuff you can do. You can make these bounce, change all your colors, add your own URLs for all the socials, all that kind of stuff. But the fact is, that's another service that we've replaced. So we don't need to use Linktree anymore. So far today on this office hours, I've showed you how to get rid of Linktree. I've showed you how to get rid of Calendly or any of those kind of services. Book Like a Boss is the one we used to use. And then I've showed you how to create a website in a really simple way. Right, amazing. 3 different services we've managed to replace just on this office hours. Okay, so I think that's that for now. Emma, I know you're silently watching. Any comments you'd like to add, or am I doing a reasonable job at this point?
Yeah, well done.
Okay, right. That's good. All right, I'll disregard you back to the old green room now then, as you're just laughing at me. Okay, so how do we set up a phone number and messaging is the next one. We've talked about subdomain. Oh, mini offer challenge. That's what I wanted to bring you back for, Emma. Let's just talk about that briefly. So we did the mini offer challenge. If you're part of the mini offer challenge, what we showed you was how to deliver a lead magnet and create an offer and give it to the end user. So what have we done following that mini offer challenge? What have we created for them?
Well, we've created what's called a snapshot. So it's everything that you showcased in that mini offer challenge. And so what I'm just saying, what I was going to highlight is in marketing. So we've got in marketing, we've got the website that you showcased, the funnel that you actually used for the mini offer challenge.
Yeah.
We've got the email templates that you used, and we've got the workflows, the automation that you created. So what, if I can just share my screen at the bottom, Matt.
Yeah.
So if anybody wants any of these folders, just give me a shout and I will then add them to your sub account. But I just wanted to give you an overview of what to expect when I do put them into your sub account. So in Sites, you'll be getting the website, so the funnel that Matt created. You can see it there. In marketing, we'll be giving you the email templates that he used. So there's 3 of them. There's this 1, 2, and 3. So that's the campaign that he used. So this is before the event starts. And in the automations, it's going to be the workflows that he used. There's 3 workflows that he used. The registration, product purchase, and weight registration. So give me a shout if you would like. Send me a message if you would like these, and I'll drop them into your accounts. And just keep an eye out for anything that says mini offer challenge. Okay.
Wicked. I'll ditch you straight away, Emma. Thanks so much for that. You can jump off now and monitor comments if you want to. That's all good. I do get to see comments inside of here. There's loads of comments. So I'll tell you what I'll do. I'll just quickly jump over to these comments and just answer these questions in case we've missed something that's really good in there. There we go. We've got JC. I'm staying. Tech Wizard. Good. Watching from Coventry. The video keeps buffering. Yes. It really just depends on your connection, but hopefully you can watch it back and you'll get the full stuff. Glad to see you're a parent-friendly business. Of course, both me and Emma's got 2 boys. I've got 2 girls. So, of course, we're a parent-friendly business. And I always say to Emma, don't apologize for your kids being around, because I know it's frustrating at times when you're trying to demo stuff, but we are parents. Like, why would we? Well, we don't need to apologize for our kids. Do you create different calendars for different types of calls? Yes, this is a great question, actually. So we have a discovery call. We have the 15-minute calls. We have the one-to-one onboarding calls. So we have a different calendar for each of those. Different calendars inside of Last CRM in the settings, but actually it's the same calendar. It's the same availability. So don't think that you'll end up with double bookings or anything like that. It checks the same calendar, our external Office 365 Outlook calendar, for availability. So you won't get any double bookings or anything like that. Looking forward to watching the replay. Excellent. That's enough information to get started. Perfect. I know it can feel like a lot of information to consume on these, but we really want these to be valuable for you and make sure you're getting enough information. You can't watch enough of these demos, because we've watched so many of these over the last 4 or 5 months as we've been diving into HighLevel, and so we want you to make sure that you feel comfortable with it, and it's just practice, right? Practice and giving it a go, and that's how you'll get used to it. But the office hours are here to make sure that we give you support outside of the calls that you can book with us as well. I have my domain name for WordPress website, so can I use that and add, say, training in front? Do I need to buy that or just use it? Excellent. Great question. So subdomains you can add alongside your current site. So if you've got a WordPress, in fact, the Last CRM website is a full WordPress website. We wanted a full WordPress website for the main website. There's some pros and cons of that, and we're not going to talk about them on this particular call. But we do stick for WordPress for a lot of our full featured websites. But things like training or landing pages, or something that's quick, like the mini offer challenge, that is it's called a fully qualified domain name, FQDN, fully qualified domain name. And we do use those for landing page stuff, like one-time offers, little funnels, mini offer challenge, where it's like landing page, offer page, thank you page. You can use the full versions, or you could just use the subdomains. You don't have to pay anymore for the subdomains. Once you own the fully qualified domain name, that means you can have unlimited amount of subdomains. And that is the beauty of Last CRM, because you can have unlimited subdomains, it means every landing page, every offer that you have, you can create a little subdomain and send people directly to that, right? And it's still integrated in your whole ecosystem. And it means that you can put a form on them and get those people into your contacts list. Right, so great question. And it's a great question because this is the kind of question that, to me as a techie, I think is obvious. But of course, it can't be obvious, because it's obvious to me because I've been doing it for 25 years or whatever. One of my first domain names was I Hate Mrs. Whale, which was a teacher that I had at school. And it was for my best friend. That's the kind of idiots we were at school. Excellent. So how do I set up? Right. How do I set up a phone number and messaging? And then we've got, just the one longer than normal office hour. So we're going to do, how do I set up a phone number and messaging, QR code for events and getting leads. I'll talk about that briefly. And then do I still need Vimeo to store my courses? Let's do those 3 questions. So how do you set up the phone number? So the scenario is here that Josie, and this is really important. If you're just getting started with Last CRM, we're going to create a quick wins set of videos for you. And one of the quick wins is adding the web chat to your website. It's a little plugin. It's just a little bit of code that you add to the website, and then you've got a live chat. And what happens is they put their name in, they put their phone number in, and they put the message, and you get a text message when they fill in that live chat. Or if you're using the app, you'll get a text message, a notification via the app. But if you've not got a phone number and if you've not purchased a phone number, you can't message them back. To my knowledge, that's how I understand it. That's what happened with Josie when she was trying this. So she was able to message them directly with her phone, but because she'd not purchased a phone number through the system, she couldn't reply through the system. So I'm just going to show you that process because it's really, really simple. And right now the phone numbers are really cheap as well. I don't think we've added any upsell or anything on those. So if you press, you'll get this message quite often, get a phone number and start texting and calling. We talk about the monthly price that you pay is a single price, and you don't get charged anymore. Phone numbers and text messages are external service, so therefore there's an additional cost to those. And if we press resolve, it's going to ask us to do a couple of things. The first one is add a phone number. So if I press add a phone number here, I can put in a number that I like. So I could say all my phone numbers have 365 in them. So I could search for that, and I could find a number that has 365 in it, right? See if I could find one at the end. I don't think any of them are. But this would then be the number, and you can see there's a monthly fee of $1.15. And I press save, and that's it. That number then is mine, right? It's not going to be used by anyone else. It's my number. And when I send messages out, it's going to come from that number. So this is really great. If anyone calls me back then, when they get the text message, because some people do, it will show up on my phone. I can forward this to my phone, and then I can see that it's coming from the system. I saved this number in as a contact called Last CRM incoming call or something like that. I can't remember exactly what it was, but that way I know that it's coming from the system and it's somebody on the website or somebody viewing it at the moment that is calling us. And then also when I send them messages, they come from that number. There's a voicemail you can associate with that. If you've got multiple team members, you can have multiple numbers and have a phone number per team member. All that kind of standard jazz, really. So then when you've got that, you get the message from the website through the chat. You reply directly either via text or via the app, and then they will get that message straight away. So super, super valuable, super cheap, and definitely worth getting set up straight away on your website. All right, so I hope that answers that question. Josie, QR code. Let's talk about Vimeo quickly, and then we'll talk about QR codes. And I'll just show you an example of what that looks like for me. So the Vimeo question is a tough one. Can you store videos in Last CRM? Yes. Right. And in the media area, you've got unlimited storage for media. That includes videos. Now, even though you can do it, and if you're saving money and you like the idea of that, you can absolutely store those videos in Last CRM. Not saying you can't, not saying you could never do it. For me, I still use Vimeo to store all my intellectual property video wise. And the reason why I do that is because services like Vimeo and YouTube are specifically made for video. And so when somebody lands on a video, it will change like the settings of the video to accommodate for their connection. So this means if you're on a lower bandwidth connection, you will get a lower quality video, but you can still watch the video. And I don't think personally that Last CRM is doing that kind of stuff. So it will allow you to store the video, but it will deliver the video at the speed at which they can take it. And that means they may end up with a bit of buffering here and there. It won't drop the connection speed down to accommodate for that. And I also just like having my videos, my intellectual property in one place like that. So I know that's probably against what most people will say, especially as we're trying to consolidate all our applications. But for me as a video guy, as king of video, I generally stick that stuff in that area. And the other thing I like about Vimeo as one example is that you can do domain protection. So you can say this video is only available on this domain. And it means nobody can get the link and then share it with somebody else, which they absolutely can with YouTube. So you need to understand that from an intellectual property point of view. You should not be using YouTube to store that course-based material. All right, so I hope that answers this question. I have got a YouTube video about that. If you need more information about that, you can let me know and I can send you that. And then QR codes. Let's talk about this then, because this is, I think, and this is the last thing for the office hours. Once we've done that, all I will say is thank you so much for your time and attention always. And I hope this has been really useful for you this week. We didn't plan on doing a long show this week because we got no updates, but here we are doing some training and stuff as well. So appreciate everyone that sent in the questions. Really, really helpful. So the event thing then. So look, I did a video about this on YouTube, and you can go and watch it on the Last CRM YouTube channel. But really what I want you to think about is if you're going to a networking event or you're an exhibitor or you want to capture details. Now we've got a client, for example, that goes to Crufts, right? Crufts, it's like 4 or 5 days long or something. They've got loads of people that arrive. They have hundreds, thousands, tens of thousands of people go to Crufts. And one of the things you want to do is capture the information. Now, if you're an exhibitor at a big event like an NEC type event, a big exhibition hall, they charge you for like these little scanners, these little barcode scanners. You can scan the people. That's why if you've ever been to an event, they always scan your badge, and that gives them your contact information, right? But what I want you to think about is something a little bit different. So what we're doing, we're exhibiting at a couple of events, and we're creating QR codes. So I'm going to show you in Canva here. So in Canva, there's a QR code generator. It's an app that you can use. If you go to on the left, if you go to apps here on the left, you can search for QR There's a couple of them, QR code generator. The one I'm using here allows me to change the colors. So that's why I use this one. So that's why I'm yellow and black here for my QR code. I've got a mono version of it as well. And then what we're going to do is we're going to put these QR codes on our business. So we're going to put them on business cards for people that don't have the internet. And we're going to put them on a poster next to the stand, so they can come up to the stand and scan the code. We're using a short URL that we can change at any point. This one's actually for BSN Conf, because we want to check how many people come from that link. But we're going to use a short URL so that we can change it, because what I see a lot of people doing is saying, oh, my URL's changed now since I made my banner or whatever. I can't change it. But by using a short URL service like Rebrandly is the one we use, you can go and change the forwarding location after that. So definitely worth using a short URL service. And then what we're going to do is we have this QR code then go to a form. So when they go to the form, they can fill in their contact details, and then away they go. So you can send them directly to the form. They fill in the contact details. They're in your system. You can follow up. You can send them a nurture sequence, an email, all that kind of text message. The demo I gave on the YouTube channel was when they fill in the form, they get a text message confirmation that they have filled it in. Thanks so much for filling our form. You're in our list. If you're running a competition, you could confirm it that way as well. And then we would send them like a 7-day email sequence. So thanks for joining our list. Welcome to Last CRM's mailing list. Did you know we have a YouTube channel? There's some great videos on there. Go and subscribe to our channel. Here's a free guide on how to convert sales to leads and sales, all that kind of jazz, right? Just loads of value and all that kind of thing, and then moving them along the journey to the next step. So I hope that answers that. I've covered that really quickly because we have this YouTube video that talks about all of that stuff. All right, thank you so much. If anyone's got any more questions, you've got 30 seconds to put those questions live. Really appreciate all of your time and attention. We are back next week. We may have to have a break next week. I'm in Amsterdam next week, so we'll either be back next week live, or I may pre-record it before I go. Send us any questions you've got. Any of our clients that are current customers, feel free to send us questions, things that you think are, as people have said, I don't want to waste your time. And we're like, no, we need all your questions. Give us all the questions and we can answer them on these calls. And of course, if there's updates this week, I expect the updates to become thick and fast again, as usual for HighLevel. We will cover those in this session. All right, my name is Matt Hughes, co-founder of Last CRM. You've seen Emma on the calls as well, co-founder, and we'll say bye-bye for now. Bye-bye. Perfect t-shirt for this kind of show. Perfect. Bye-bye.